Okay, hi. My name is Tiffany. I recently, in the past 2 or 3 months, began my journey to concluding my diagnosis, which is multiple sclerosis. I'm not even going to lie when I say that up until the prognosis of the diagnosis came up, that I knew what MS was. A doctor said multiple sclerosis to me, and I was like, okay, what the hell is that? And I don't know if I'll do it in this clip or in a later clip, but I'll share the story as to how MS came up, because for those of you who have it and those of you who don't, I will tell you that MS isn't necessarily the first thing that doctors come to when someone is experiencing the symptoms that someone with multiple sclerosis could have. Sometimes it's lupus, which is also kind of difficult to diagnose. And then there's a whole slew of things prior to that that could cause symptoms that are very similar to what someone with MS would go through. And so they kind of have to go down this checklist and make sure that it's not all that other stuff, because to diagnose multiple sclerosis, and for those of you who have it probably already know, and those of you who don't, who just are doing research or want to follow along or are just watching because you're interested, the amount of symptoms and things like that, they're so vast that in order to definitively define multiple sclerosis, you got to go through things like a lumbar puncture, and you have to, which is painful. It's basically a spinal tap. You have to get an MRI of your brain and your spine, which I don't know how everyone else's worked, but my between my spine was about 2 hours, and my brain was a little bit less, about an hour and 45 minutes, but it takes so long because they have to do one without and then one with contrast. And so you're basically sitting there straight through for 2 MRIs, and you can't move because it'll alter the way the images work out, and something will come out blurry, and so on and so forth. And so it's more so tedious coming to the diagnosis than it is anything else. Stressful, of course, but it's not one thing where, like taking a pregnancy test, you kind of go and you wait 2 minutes, and you either are or you aren't, and you get a bright blue plus sign, or you get a bright blue negative sign, or somewhere there in between, but you have a definitive answer. Multiple sclerosis, like I said prior to, it took me about 2 months before I got a clear diagnosis, and even then it was a little bit shaky until some other stuff started happening, and I got another flare-up, which I'll probably explain in a later video, because that's something you can go on and on about. But yes, so this would be the first video of probably a few. I would like to keep a log, more so for myself and as a support system for other people, because I've looked for some videos and I've come across a few, but sometimes it's hard to relate. You have people who are older or people who have more severe symptoms, and I'm kind of at the in-between. I am 23 currently. I'll be 24 in a few months. And I have a decent amount of lesions. Some people have 4 and things are worse for them. Some people have 10 to 15 and they're not off as bad. And multiple sclerosis is considered a snowflake disease where no 2 cases look the same. So I would just like to do this for myself and keep a log of things that are going on, and do this for other people who don't know what's going on, because I'm, just starting to get a feel for this. I'm just starting to discover things, and in this, maybe we can provide a support for each other and answer each other's questions and give each other answers and so on and so forth. And can I just say now, before any other video, and it happens a little bit before, my memory lately has been crappy. And I'm sorry if that word offends anyone, but my memory just sucks nowadays. So if I repeat something or I look like I lose my train of thought and I have to go back to it, I apologize. Feel free to laugh about it. I do when I notice it happens. I'm starting to feel a little bit like Dory from Finding Nemo sometimes, where I can't remember what I was doing and I just told myself I was going to do about 30 seconds prior. Or my parents or a family member has to tell me something about 3 or 4 times before I can register, hey, can you go get me this? And I'm like, yeah, okay. And I start walking. I'm like, wait a minute, what is it that you need again? So I call them my Dory moments from Finding Nemo, and you'll come to find out that I'm a huge Disney fan, so I'll make a lot of references to things like that. But I also wanted to talk about the harder things, relationship stuff, and, personal things and emotions, and it's something that you don't get research on. They want to talk to you about helping you with jobs and what are you going to do financially and maintaining a functional life and things like that. Well, yeah, that's great, and yeah, we do need help with that, but what about all the stuff in between? The joy because something worked, or you got a better test result than you had before, or crying about something because this sucks. I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. Having this disease sucks. But I'm going to end with this, and I will probably say this in every video. Someone I spoke to about it when I was first starting the journey to, getting my diagnosis, told me that if I do have this, I have one of two options when I look at what my disease is. I can either look at multiple sclerosis as a disease, as something that'll make my life hard, and something that I have to, struggle with and fight and things like that. Or I can look at it as a condition, something I have to live with, something that's a little bit annoying every now and again, but not something that defines how I'm going to live the rest of my life. And so, I really took that to heart. And when I have my harder days, I have to tell myself, okay, today is one of those days where you need to keep reminding yourself that this is a condition, not a disease. This is something that I have to live with, and it's going to be hard sometimes, but it's not going to define me. It's not going to define my next decision, because my next decision is mine. And so I was a little hesitant about starting this video blog. So I did a little bit of research on YouTube, like